My name is Ty Collin, and this is gonna take a couple tries. My name is Ty Collin, and I own a company called Squirrel Woodworking. I think we got that one. So I'm 21 years old, and I've owned this company for a couple years now. Started in high school, and it kind of just grew as it went. And I've been buying all this machinery. And if you notice, I'm in a new shop this year because a couple months ago, Hurricane Helene hit and kind of wiped out my old shop. So we moved up here, up the mountain, farther away from the water. And we've got this whole big area now. So to start us off nice and hot, we got the wide belt sander. This is my newest tool. It was given to me, and it has been quite expensive to repair and move here, but worthy investment, and I'm more than grateful to be the new owner of it. I strategically put it right next to the garage door, so that way if I want to roll the forklift in or roll big slabs in, I can just pick it up with the forklift and the dust collection. It just super easily pops off. With the Grizzly quick disconnects. Those things are awesome. I have them on most of my tools. Put the air compressor on the actual machine. That way I don't have to disconnect any air lines. I can just pick it up and roll it out, and then I have a giant working area. This kind of corner of my shop acts like a lot of the storage, especially for the wide belt. All of the massive belts hang up here nice and out of the way. It's a great mount for my power feed, and it has a magnetic base, so it's really easy to pop on and off. We also have the Blackstone grill. I put it right next to the door. That way, you know, in the summer I keep the door open while I'm cooking, and it's nice being able to cook my food here. That way I don't have to run to a restaurant or run home at lunch. It's like the perfect spot to keep my Traxel tracks and my levels. They're just nice and tucked out of the way. So as you can tell, the lighting in here is really nice. When I first moved into the shop, one, there wasn't a ceiling, and two, there was no lights. No lights at all. So after installing the ceiling, Patriot lights, they were kind enough, they saw the hurricane hit me, and they were kind enough to reach out and say, hey, do you need lights for your new shop? Yes, I did. So this amazing lighting that we have throughout my entire shop is Patriot lighting, and they're awesome. They look nice. You can change the color tint, you can change the brightness level, and you can kind of dial it in so it looks good on camera. And they're very affordable and long-lasting and well-built. In this corner, we got my slop sink. This is something I didn't have in my last shop, and it is like one of the most surprising, like it's just so convenient to have a slop sink. Washing out paintbrushes and whatnot, and it's super cheap on Amazon, so I don't care if I ruin it. Our first line of tools is my bandsaw group. These I kind of swap out a lot. I'm constantly flipping through bandsaws, just getting bigger and bigger ones, but the reason why I have three is this one right now is my main resaw bandsaw, so the throat depth, it can cut a full 16 inches if you take the guard off, which is good for pretty much everything I do. This one has a big throat depth in the horizontal fashion, so I can cut wider stuff on this. So I use this bandsaw with a thin blade. I have a 1/4 inch, but I usually have an 1/8 inch blade in here. That way I can do really big scroll cuts for like cutting board handles. And this bandsaw, I haven't finished setting it up. I got to restore it, clean off the table and whatnot, but this would be my metal cutting bandsaw, and I didn't hook it up to any dust collection for that reason. This, my friend, is a VFD, a variable frequency drive. Did my homework a little bit on these. I have a bunch of them. You can just get them really cheap on Amazon, and they work great. They don't make this brand anymore, but this brand is awesome. The instructions are really good. And it's really cool because you can just program it. So I programmed this one for my shaper. That way it has a nice little soft start. So when I hit start, it'll slowly wind up, but it'll actually reverse thrust and stop the spindle faster than if there was no VFD at all. I measured it on my jointer. It took like 6 minutes for the cutter head to slow down to a stop, but it takes less than 30 seconds now with the VFD running it in reverse a little bit. All of the machines in my shop either run on 3-phase via VFDs or 220 volt, which is really nice. You get a lot more efficient, a lot less heat, and just a lot more power in your tools. This is a little fence that I built. This was just like a little mock-up. This shaper didn't come with a fence because I bought it used. I just have it on magnetic mag switch locks, so I can easily click it off and then click it back on. I will rebuild this in the future, and that will definitely be a video. This is my other shaper. This is a Grizzly. I bought it new. I love it. I love the fence system. I like the little hoods and safety features that it has. It doesn't have a variable frequency drive, so it only runs at 2 different speeds. I have to manually move the belts, so that's the downside to this machine, but it's a little bit newer and a little bit smoother. Next up, we got my planer. This is probably my most used tool. When I want to use it, I just click that and I can roll it out. And everything on my shop is on these mobile bases I got from Grizzly. They're awesome, and it just makes it nice because I'm constantly buying new machinery, so I can just kind of rearrange the whole shop. Next up, I have my chop saw. I put it on this pack out base, one for the storage, and two, I had a really big stand for it, and I just never really used it, and I didn't feel like I needed it. I don't really use the chop saw that much, so this is nice because this saw is cordless, so I can roll it around my shop and make cuts. Like, I'll roll it next to my table saw, do my cross cuts and my rip cuts at like the same time in sequence, and it just kind of saves time when I'm doing production stuff. Yeah. This behemoth of a tool is kind of like a shaper. It's called a pin router. The main difference is it has this little locating pin. So this pin is perfectly centered with any bit you put in it, and there's a bunch of different size pins you can put in. But you can make like a template, and it will basically track that template. You can cut interior holes and slots really easily. I've been using it for slot mortises a lot. It's really good for that. I made these hang boards with it, so I used it to cut these slots out, and you get really precise on the depth, and it's really repeatable. So it's really easy to batch these hang boards out because of the pin router. I would have to do it with a handheld router before, and I think the pin router is honestly safer, even though it's probably the most dangerous machine in my shop. Our next little island is my workbench, table saw, and two spindle routers. They're all connected on the same mobile base system, so I can roll this whole island around the shop. If I'm doing long stuff, I can roll it at a diagonal. That way I can cut, 20 feet long. I'm kind of unhappy with it. The table, when I was moving, I bent the frame, so it's like got a big dip here, but I will definitely fix this up. I want to add a sliding thing, and I just want to make this setup a lot nicer. This is definitely been one of the more neglected parts of my shop because it's something I use every day and I don't take care of it. I also store all my handheld power tools and chisels and hand planes on this, which is nice because, the workbench is where I use all these tools, so it's nice to be able to grab everything really quickly. Then I keep all my router bits right next to the router and all my shaper bits in a pack out next to the shaper. So this little plastic cart actually came with the shop. It was just here, and it's mine now. And it's surprisingly amazing. This is my secondary work surface. I use this a ton, especially when I have projects started on the workbench. I'll use this a lot. I want to add some sort of wood top to make this more functional, but I keep all my common tools like my vacuum and hammers and track saws, all the stuff I roll around the shop and have to use at different stations. It just kind of follows me throughout the day as I do what I do. Now this massive piece of equipment is 2,500 pounds. Based off of the specs of it, I believe it's a 1940 12-inch jointer. This is one of my favorite pieces of equipment. It sounds smooth, it cuts great, it's so massive and unnecessarily heavy, and it just leaves a really, really good and precise cut because of how much just mass the machine has. I also temporarily built these little racks to store all my clamps, and they suck. All the clamps constantly fall off, and one of the shelves actually snapped off while I was hanging stuff on it. So this needs to be redone and dealt with at some point. So this cart is where I keep all my jigs and templates and extra blades and stuff for the machines. I can roll it around the shop really easily, and then it tucks out of the corner where I'm not using it. So I don't use everything on this cart every day. So it's nice that I can fit easily in this corner, but tall enough to where I can store a bunch of stuff on it still. Yeah. Up on these racks, I use the BOA rack system. That's where I keep all my lumber. I really like it. I'm not a huge fan of horizontal storage, but it's just so much more economical. I can store so much more stuff farther out of the way. The stuff that I use daily, I store up here. And eventually these racks will wrap all the way around that wall, and I'll just have a ton of wood storage for medium to small size stuff. So my hanging air filter, there's no on-off switch. It's also on the ceiling, so it'd be really hard to turn on and off every day. So I have it on a Bluetooth plug. That way I can turn it on or off with my phone. That plug is also, I attached it to the lights. That way when I leave the shop at the end of the day, it'll just automatically turn off and then turn back on when I come back in the next day. This is the small room. This is where I keep all the tools that I don't use that often, or kind of more vertical style tools. So I have this hole boring tool. I haven't really done much work on it. I plan on adding a sliding mechanism here. That way I can cut slotted mortises really easily. But that's a future project. I got this machine for free when I bought another one of my tools, so I just kind of have to find a use for it, and I have not yet. This corner is my little welding station. I make a lot of frames and table bases, so it's nice to have a fab table, and my welder stores nice and neatly under here, and it runs TIG, stick, and MIG, so I can do any process I want, and I just kind of keep it tucked in the corner. Again, it's not one of those things I use every day, but when it comes in handy, it's something that I absolutely need, and the fixtures on it are great, and it makes stuff really repeatable. But this is where I keep all my small scrap pieces of wood. It's on wheels so I can roll it around, but mainly I just keep it here and I just kind of throw all my scrap wood and scrap metal on it. It's just kind of a catch-all for stuff I don't want to deal with. I keep my dust collector tucked back here nice and out of the way. It is a Cyclone with a HEPA filter, so I don't mind having it inside. It runs really, really quiet, so it doesn't affect my filming, and it has a remote control, so the fact that I can't reach the start button is totally fine. I hang the remote on my apron so I can turn it on and off as I'm using all my tools. I also keep my drill press and my hollow chisel mortiser here. Hollow chisel mortiser basically works. I just need to fix the hole where the bits are going in because it's too small. This drill press is really great. It's a heck of a deal. I think they have 2 more left. It's usually like $1,400, but it's on sale for like $700. The neat thing about it is it has this extra pulley up here. And what that pulley does is it will auto feed the spindle up to 3/4 of an inch. So you can attach these little sandy bits, and it's a oscillating spindle sander, and it has a little vacuum port. It works really well. I have no complaints about it, and I will eventually get more drill presses, like a gear-headed drill press, but for right now, this one does the job really well. So this is the office and kitchen. This corner is my kitchen. I've got my fridge to keep all my food in here, microwave, and all that fun stuff. And then this is my office. I haven't had time to build a desk yet, but I love the 3 monitors. It makes editing and all that easily. Got my whatever computer, don't know anything about it, but it runs great. And it's a nice little workspace, and it's right next to the mini split, so I can come here early in the morning or late at night and stay warm while I'm getting some paperwork done. This rack is so stupid heavy, and it came with the shop, and it's way bigger than I need, but I keep all my boxes and stuff on it. I ship a lot of stuff, so it's also just a catch-all for junk. So this back room, this is one of my favorite things. It's awesome. I have it screened off. That way I can sand in here and dust doesn't go anywhere, as well as I can stain in here and the off spray from the stain won't go out and cover my nice computer and all that stuff. So it's just like, you know, messy room is what it is basically. It has an awesome exhaust fan. I also run this on a VFD, so I can circulate the entire room's air in like 10 seconds. So I can get really, really dusty in here and just blow it all out. I also have a fan intake so it doesn't rip the, the plastic off the wall. So that'll blow air in and this will suck it all out. It's also been super convenient. This is my old dust collector from forever ago, and I just kept it in storage for some reason, but it's been really handy here. I just have it attached to a floor sweep, and it just makes cleaning up this room easily, much more easy, because it gets so messy in here. I can just kind of sweep it all into the corner, and it gets sucked and bagged up for me. This is my sanding and staining table. It's on wheels, so I can roll it around anywhere in here, and it just has these little grippy parts. It's a downdraft table, so I can connect it to the dust collector and it'll kind of pull a little bit extra of the dust out of the air. But mainly I just kind of sand and then let it get blown out. I also use this old like dresser thing. This is where I store all of my sanding tools, and there's a little drawer where I keep my little sanders. And I like sanders. I have a lot. I have like 20 something sanders. They all do slightly different things, and you know, they're all needed and they're all used and loved. I keep all my sandpaper right here. I try to organize it, but I need to get some better organization because when I blow all the dust off, they go flying everywhere, which is really inconvenient. And then in this cabinet, I keep all my glues and stains and stuff that I don't want to freeze. I also don't want to get all dirty, and I don't want it to smell up the rest of the shop, so I keep it in here. So this is my main wood storage. It's just vertical storage. I'm gonna weld together with some I-beam a proper rack and system so that way the stuff doesn't blow over in the wind, because it gets quite windy right here. But this is just where I store all the stuff that is too big to stay in the shop and takes up way too much room. So this is the exhaust port for where that exhaust fan in the spray room is. It's nice, but it doesn't have any insulation, so I just have this panel that I pop on there and then I pop it off when I'm using the fan. This is where my mini split is stored, as well as the air compressor. This thing is amazing, but it is ungodly loud. So I keep it out here, that way it stays nice and quiet in the shop while I'm filming. And I just run my air up through that hole, and it just runs, will eventually run throughout the shop. I haven't quite connected it. I also keep all my sawdust here. We give this away to local farmers and whatnot. We live in a rural area, so this stuff, I get like 10 bags, and it's really easy. I just post about it on Facebook, I can give it all away usually. Well, I think that's my shop.